All right, everyone, welcome to another episode of Back to the Blockbuster, and we are back after a week off. What's up, Jack?
Yeah, how we doing, man? It was in California, it's the end of the summer, officially kind of for us, and we went out with a little bit of a bang, and we were supposed to record that Monday, which we all went out for, and then Tuesday was rolling around, and then I was flying, so I'm in New York right now. Gase is in LA, so we took a little hiatus for the week, but now we're back. Got a lot to talk about. A
Yeah,
lot to
there's a,
talk about.
a ton of
You,
stuff.
you,
Yeah.
it might have been the most inopportune week for us to take off, but we're back and we're gonna give our 1 2 cents on this right now.
Well, it worked out a little bit because the week that we had off, because I think the only thing that happened was like the Venice Film Festival stuff, and like, uh, we can update the whole Warner Brothers thing because the guy that we thought was going to be the guy is no longer going to be the
He's
guy.
gone. He's
So that
gone.
happened while we were gone. But over the weekend there was the whole D23 Expo, so at least we can talk about that kind of fresh. Um, but you've been on pretty much on vacation, so you haven't watched anything, right? Like I would assume that you haven't watched
That's
anything.
not true. That's not true. That's
Oh
not
wait, well,
true.
never mind.
I've
All right,
definitely watched. I've
correct.
definitely watched. I've definitely watched.
All right, correct
All
me.
we need to watch because I've just been in New York City, just hanging out with my buddies, and we still watch everything. So I'm up to date on the Rings. I'm up to date on the Dragon. I watch a few new shows on Netflix, and so I'm not as out of the loop as everyone thinks I am. I always have time to watch TV. I know it's a terrible thing to say, but I got it. I got the
All right. All
time.
right. Well, yeah, you probably watched more TV than I did. I saw a couple movies. Um,
What'd you watch?
so I saw Barbarian last week. It's a horror movie. I know you're not
Mm,
into horror movies, but
we know that's not my bag. Yeah,
this one had a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I was told
nice
by
box office.
I was told to by people who saw it early, because I had the opportunity to see it early, but it was like a really late showing during the week, and I did not want to commit to that. But everyone that saw it early said, like, dude, don't watch any more clips, don't watch any more trailers, just go in completely blind. And it's probably one of the most bonkers horror movies I've seen in a long time, but it was really good. And like the setup was pretty uh pretty good as well. I had no idea it was gonna go the way it was going. And I'm kind of happy that it kind of got embraced by like at least the casual like movie going public, because it was only supposed to make like $6 million last week and ended up making like 10.5, and I think that was just because of solid early word of mouth. And there's nothing else out right now. We're still in the kind of slow September period, but it was well worth seeing in theaters. Though I agree with like all the horror fans out there that really liked it, and I'm surprised critics really like it. Critics don't always like horror movies, and they really like this one. So yeah, I would highly recommend it. It makes me never ever want to stay in an Airbnb though. That's like the setup, and
Oh,
I yeah
don't ruin an Airbnb for me. Hey, but
yeah.
it is. I will say one thing: as long as a horror movie does well, it does make me happy because it does prove that like even like such a niche like genre can still reach the audience in a very slow box office weekend, man.
Yeah,
Very slow.
it was very
So
yeah. So it was like one of those like kind of like yeah, this was good for Barbarian. It opened in the double digits, but the other news was like it was the second worst like weekend for the box office this summer. Um, and they're counting it, so it's gotta take the good with the bad, I guess. Like we only have, I think this week we have The Woman King with Viola Davis, which has a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes coming out of the Toronto Film Festival. Out of like
I just have zero clue what that movie's about. I don't think I've seen a trailer. I just know that if Viola Davis is in it, I'm in.
yeah, and like I'm still, I mean, it's still maintaining that 100%. I think there's like 45 reviews counted as of this recording, and it's still 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. And then there's another horror film coming out this weekend called Pearl. It's like a prequel to that movie X. Uh, Jack might not know about it, but horror fans, if you're listening, know about X. Was a another well received horror film that came out earlier this year. I think it has like a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's like a good like throwback, like almost Texas Chainsaw Massacre style slasher movie, but
Hmm.
also really smart. I guess Ty West actually shot. I guess most of these. He made three of them. He shot the prequel X and then a sequel to X all at the same time. And I guess A24 who's releasing it had faith that like all three of these movies would do at least decently okay to justify doing three of them. Um, so, but yeah, that's we have that this weekend, and then we have Don't Worry, Darling next the week after this. And despite all the drama around it, it's supposed to open pretty well, and we still have like a few weeks to go before the big stuff comes out. So, I am happy that these smaller movies, at least they have room to have some legs and like do some business if possible, while there's nothing out. So there's that, but it still sucks that the box office is so slow. Like I think after Barbarian, like Bullet Train made like Bullet Train's still in the top five. That's how slow. And Top Gun Maverick is still in the top five as well. That's how
I
slow the
love
box
that.
office is.
I love that Top Gun is still there. I mean,
And you can watch it at home now. It's like on digital.
my mom and dad bought it. They won't stop talking about it. So you can watch Top Gun anytime you want. It's like, I know I can do it anyways.
Yeah.
I don't need it, but yeah, no, I'm very, very excited for the next movie season to come.
Yeah.
Especially with like, I wouldn't say controversy, but just like the whole like tit and toil of like, movies underperforming because of COVID or whatnot and everything. So I think we're gonna hit some good strides going into the theaters this year. Hopefully with Black Adam doing some work and doing that stuff. But uh I just wanted to drop Black Adam in there for a second, but I have nothing to say other than that.
Yeah,
But
I think it's gonna come down to reviews, man, like how well that does. I mean, I think it'll open very well because it's The Rock and it's DC
it's
and
gonna
like
crush openings. I definitely
um
say that for sure.
and
Like,
did you
crush.
hear that he's been going to test screenings like in disguise? Which some people think isn't fair because like who's gonna give an honest reaction to a film once they realize that he's there? Because he reveals that he's there like by the end of it.
After the fact, but
But
like you can't, like and it's also easily as him like coming in the back when the movie started, so no one sees him. Like
right.
it's not like they're gonna be like turning around like, oh, is The Rock here? So I'd have to say that like it's definitely genuine, like their reaction, but also The Rock is like the ultimate showman. So we
Yep.
won't, I won't see either here nor there about those reactions. But I am excited. I really do hope the rumors are true that Henry Cavill filmed that post credit scene, tying it all together. It's awesome to see that Viola Davis is in this as Amanda Waller, which connects to all of Justice League and Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
So and Warner Brothers, this is new Warner Brothers, so they would have to allow that.
Yeah.
So excited for that. But yeah, no, we're gonna get that. But really, the talk of this weekend, as you alluded to in the beginning, was that fucking D23 dropped some stuff,
Yeah,
bro.
the D23 Expo, depending on the day, was very well received. The Marvel one was last, and we can talk about that one. That one was a mixed bag for like fans because they were expecting certain things and they didn't get certain things. But I thought like some of the stuff we got was pretty good. I think people need to learn that like when it comes to like these like conventions and expos and all this stuff, like you can't listen to like social media rumors because once you do, you're gonna be like highly like they had a DC weekend basically where they were like, oh, we're gonna hear this and we're gonna see this, and they
Yeah,
didn't.
how does it feel, Marvel fans? How does
Yeah.
it fucking feel?
So that didn't happen. So like the D23 Expo, that's where Disney showcases all their upcoming, big stuff to all like the press and media and all that. And Friday they kicked it off with like their Disney section, and there's a lot of Disney stuff coming out. I guess the one big trailer reveal, and it wasn't even a trailer, it was like a teaser, was for the live action Little Mermaid, which got like some positive reactions and then some like of course some trolly negative reactions because Halle
This is
Bailey is
America.
playing Ariel, and Halle Bailey is African American, and of course, why can't a fictional mermaid character be black? I don't know. But it's
I
upsetting
only
some
have
people.
I only have one gripe with this.
What is it? What is it?
What you know what it is?
No, what is
Is
it?
that when I read who was playing it, I read immediately
You
went to
reread
Halle Berry.
Harry Berry. That's happened since
Yeah,
she got cast, by the way. Like,
like that's like you need to change your last name or like
yeah,
just put your
I think
middle
Halle
name.
Berry made a joke because when she got cast, everyone thought it was her, and she was on Twitter and she's like, "Well, thank y'all for thinking I'm young enough to play Ariel, but no, it's
Dude,
not
that's it.
me."
That's for, like yeah, like I really couldn't give a shit like what the fucking mermaid is and Little Mermaid is, as long as there is a fucking singing crab.
Oh yeah, there
I'm
has to be.
cool. As long
Um,
as there's a singing crab and whoever plays the evil witch octopus, she better be dope.
oh, Melissa McCarthy's doing it.
Who? Oh
Melissa
wow,
McCarthy.
yeah, fantastic. So yeah, and hopefully it's a little bit more serious, not like like I hope Melissa McCarthy doesn't Melissa McCarthy the role. Um,
Oh, but you know she might.
she might, no, she will. She'll make it funny, but I hope it's like a little more sinister. That's
Yeah.
just my only hope. But yeah, no, a lot of good. I mean, I only saw good positive stuff with like with that TikTok video with all the African American girls like being like, "Yo,
Yeah, I
it's
thought that
me,
was really
black,"
cool.
like so
Yeah.
stuff like that. So I couldn't give a shit.
And
Let's look at
Jody
that.
Benson, who did the voice of Ariel for the 1989 movie, also shouted her out on her Twitter and like and all her social media. It's kind of like this passing of the torch to
No,
her, which
yeah,
I
as
thought
we
was really
should.
nice. Like, yeah, um, I think the reaction to it was mostly positive. Of course, there's going to be people who are like, I put the trailer on my G Reels TikTok, and it got 10,000 views, and a lot of the comments were mixed. It was a lot of like, "Oh, I can't wait to see this," and then of course, like, "Oh, but why? But why is she black?" I mean, again, it's a fictional character. This is going on right now with Lord of the Rings and House of Dragon 2, with all those fans being upset that they're like black people playing certain characters. It's fantasy. It's not real. I don't understand why it's such a big deal, but they make it a big deal.
My only thing, and this is me with like picking up on like little fucking bullshits, is that all of the African American people in House of Dragon for some reason have white hair.
No, yeah, I don't know what. Why do
It
they?
drives me nuts. Or not white hair, it's like gray hair. Like
Gray
even the
hair.
kid, like even Corliss's Sir Corliss's son, who's like 10, has like gray dreadlocks, and you're like, okay, whatever. But other than that, I don't give a shit, man. Dude, you get black dwarves, you get blue dwarves, you're gonna fucking they're fucking dwarves.
Yeah.
They carve like, get out of here. Anyhow,
Yeah.
um,
I will say that that girl has a really good voice. I was listening to listening to her sing in the trailer, and she adds like a little extra run to that "Part of Your World" song from the movie. That was like a little extra like stank on it at the end because you got to when you got soul. And she sounds really good. Like her voice sounds really amazing. And the
dude,
visual, and I think they needed to bring that out because the same weekend that they premiered that trailer, like they released the live action Pinocchio on Disney Plus, and it got ripped apart by everyone. It got
it's
really
not good. It's not good
off.
apparently. It's
Yeah, it got awful
not good.
reviews. So I mean, I guess to soften the sting of like that, like show a little bit something from your next live action stuff. So I'm like, all right, this looks pretty good. Because I mean, Robert Zemeckis directed that live action Pinocchio. You got Tom Hanks in it too, and like everyone, like all the reviews I read were just like on borderline evil with how much they were saying how bad it was. Like they said that it was lifeless, is what I heard from most people, and
No
it just
pun
didn't need to be
intended.
made. Like, yeah, just didn't need to be made. And I mean, I think that's the case with a lot of these live action Disney movies. Like, they make money because they're based on familiar IP, but I don't think like the live action Aladdin was fine, but I don't need it. And the live action Lion King was fine, but we don't need it. They all feel kind of unnecessary. But I mean, it's Disney, so they're gonna milk their stuff for all it's worth.
Damn straight they are. They're fucking Disney guy.
And then also on their Disney Day, they had another trailer for Hocus Pocus 2. There's a bunch of trailers for that already. That's coming out on Disney Plus on September 30th, I believe. Just in time for Halloween for everyone to make it their new like favorite Halloween movie. Um, they also released a trailer for Disenchanted, which is a sequel to Enchanted. I'm surprised they're sending that to Disney Plus because Enchanted made a lot of money when it came out. Um, Makes me think that the quality of it isn't so good. Um, but I'm not quite sure. I mean, I'm not sure why it's going to Disney Plus.
I'm not into any of those movies at all. You could literally I could not like when those like came out, I was like, I really don't want to waste 2 minutes of my time on Instagram watching any of those trailers.
But then I put the Disenchanted trailer on G Reel's TikTok, and it got 28,000 views. I don't know how the algorithm works on TikTok, but a lot of people liked it, or like they're looking forward to it. From the comments, it was mostly girls. I'm assuming.
I have zero clue what any of those are. I mean, zero clue.
Yeah.
I'm happy, you got, I mean, it's not original IP, but it's, it's continuing on with an original idea. So,
Yeah.
us, we're all about original ideas again. So the more they happen, I don't need Hocus Pocus too. But it's more content, the better, I guess. But at some point or another, it's like, let's start making some new stuff.
Exactly.
Like, they just announced also like fucking they're doing a Mufasa like
Oh,
prequel. And
a
it's like,
live action Lion King prequel. Yeah, it's like,
yeah, it's
uh,
like, dude, I don't need that. You know what I do need is like 2.5 hours, like an hour and a half of Timon and Pumbaa. That's what I need.
you want that movie?
That's what I want. That's what I
I'm
want.
surprised that Barry Jenkins is directing it. I'm surprised he made that his next movie. This is the guy who directed like Moonlight, and If Bill Street Could Talk. He like didn't seem he would go that route, but I guess like when Disney calls you and they give you like a commercial movie, you take it. Um, that's another thing I don't think we need either. I don't think we need like a live action Lion King prequel whatsoever. He tried to explain it like in a way that made it seem like it would be a compelling story about like haven't we always wondered what it was like to be like a young Mufasa? What was young Mufasa like before we meet him in the Lion King? I'm not really sure that people really care.
Yeah, really. What do you want to know? Do you want me to know what he does before he meets don't say her name.
Oh, his wife's name?
Don't say it.
You don't know it because you're gonna say Nala, and it's not Nala.
Nope. I was not gonna say Sabiri?
Sarabi.
Sarabi. Sarabi, that's what it is.
You know what? I think
Sabiri.
what could be interesting though is the whole like early dynamics between him and Scar. I think that could be kind of like cool to see, like how
Yeah, I
that kind of like
agree.
fell apart.
That would be dope. That would
If
be
they
dope
if they
because
write it
Star,
well,
yeah.
but yeah.
Because yeah. All right. Well, let's get to the juicy stuff of D23.
Well, yeah, Saturday there was all the Star Wars stuff, but there's also, if we already know about, there's a final like Andor trailer. It looks good.
I'm fucking pumped for that, dude. Andor is gonna be a sneaky good watch for everybody. I guarantee it.
Yeah, a lot of people, a lot of Star Wars fans who have been hesitant about some of the shows are like excited about this one. It's something
Because
about it. I
like,
think.
dude, because it's perfectly um like kind of what we're saying, like where it's like it's perfectly balanced in the sense that it has not connected to like Darth Vader or Luke Skywalker. It's just another adventure.
Yeah,
And like you can make endless universes and you can make endless planets about endless stuff and like whatever system. But
yeah.
but just because it has that tail end connection to Rogue One, which I really think is a really underrated like tie-in movie that like literally leads to like one scene of the next
I think it's
movie.
the best of the new ones they made.
A hundred
Like,
percent agree.
yeah, I think yeah, it's
100%.
like that, and yeah, and I didn't think it would be because I thought, of course, I'd be disconnected, and also knowing like what happens because they can't like make it, like they can't survive.
No,
Like,
yeah.
yeah,
You
but yeah,
have to
they did it
but
really well.
yeah, exactly. But it also like just kind of like, oh, there's a lot more going on than the Jedi's and doing the rebellion. So
Yeah,
this is just like jumping off that and making it a lot more cool
yeah,
because Andor was like in there for like what, like, not that long of the movie. He was obviously a main character in it, but like there was also like Woody Harrelson and all that nonsense shit. So like I'm excited for this for sure because it's just gonna give another like what normal people do in space. It's still so hard for me to contemplate that this could be just going on in another universe probably far, far away.
yeah.
Um, but sorry, that was my high moment of the podcast. Pretty baked.
Jesus.
But no, it's one of those things where you're just like, damn, dude, like you can make all these stories in Star Wars, and I think I'm happy that Star Wars fans are getting to that notion of where it's like accepting these new things because eventually you're gonna have to do something about it.
Yeah,
So you're gonna have to not use um fucking
all the
the
people,
main
all
Star
the people
Wars
we know.
sagas. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So excited about that. And also just more representation of just like different characters throughout the fucking universe, man. It's gonna be sweet.
yeah, yeah. I think it looks good too. And I actually let me just double check when does this series
September 21st.
Yeah, and 12
My
episodes.
birthday.
Filmed over 12 episodes. So yeah, so you got a
Three
decent run.
episodes, three episodes on my birthday next week. It's gonna be dope.
You got a decent run. And then we also got a teaser trailer for The Mandalorian season 3, yes. Um
Yes, but I just still have no idea. Actually, what will be cool is I actually know that my friend, I don't know the dude personally. My friend is very good friends with the dude who actually is the Mandalorian, not Pedro Pascal.
oh, the guy in the suit, the guy in the
The
who's in
guy
the
in the
suit
suit.
mostly.
Yeah, his name's Brendan Wayne. I'll see if I
Okay.
can get him on the podcast. That'd be dope.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't know we needed that. Like I was like I every the Mandalorian sneaks up on me every fucking time. Every single time. Because there's nothing to like that the storylines of these freaking Mandalorian is so basic. Give me some complexity. And you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Can you like do you agree or no?
No, I agree. I agree. Yeah. I think
It's
I think
so
people have
basic.
I think people have such a strong like affinity for it though because it was the first one of these that we got and it was so good when it started and it's actually maintained at least across 2 seasons it's maintained that quality. It'll be interesting to see how it maintains that quality in season 3 because it is going to be piggybacking off the events of the Book of Boba Fett, which some people didn't like. Um, but it is following the events of that show a little bit. But we will find out sometime in 2023. There was no like date for it yet, but people were
They'll figure
very
that out.
people were
We'll
very
cross that
excited.
bridge when we get to it.
They also I always get the name wrong, and you probably know the character that Rosario Dawson plays in this.
So Katano.
Yeah, so they didn't release it, but I guess they showed a little something there.
So they show the title card.
Yeah, and John Favreau said that basically that series. Who's the guy? Is it Dave Filoni? Is that his name? Uh, the other guy. There's another the other guy that's involved with the Star Wars shows. I think it's Dave Filoni. Um,
Okay, I don't know names.
said that he believes that show is like his like the best thing he's done so far as far across the all the series they've done.
I
Um,
think so. I think so too because like Ahsoka Tano, like even through because as we know, like everything's canon in Star Wars. So
yeah,
throughout the Clone Wars, she probably wanted some fucking dope ass missions in the cartoons, and then she shows up in Mandalorian, no, in Boba Fett, right?
yeah,
Yeah, she shows up in Boba
yep,
Fett, and she's dope there too. And she like has she does all the the Jedi stuff too. So I'm definitely excited. Rosario Dawson is a dope actor. She's fucking awesome.
yeah,
And he and that show just shows like how good practical makeup can be. And
yeah,
like again, and also just another great fan casting too. So there's so much potential for that. I don't
yeah,
know. I just hope again, this is like one of my I just hope 45-minute episodes. Just give me 45 minutes. I'm okay. It just can't be 20. Like don't the problem with Mandalorian is it's too short and there's no plot development until like every other episode where it's like and again like like, still don't really yeah it's just like I don't care.
yeah.
So just longer episodes make it a point of something like like make something new and make something like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, definitely excited for Ahsoka. That's gonna be sick. And
And then
then there's another cartoon movie, another cartoon coming out, right?
yeah, there is. I'm blanking on the name. I just had it up though. I had it up before I brought up the because they showed an image of Jude Law from his Star Wars show, Star Wars Skeleton Crew. Um, another getting another big name to be a part of these Star Wars series. But yeah, they showed some stuff with him as well, and then they showed some stuff from an animated. You're right, an animated series that they're doing as well. Um,
What do they say about Jude Law? Skeleton Crew is about a group of kids who are 10 years old who get lost in the Star Wars universe. It's stars for kids, but it's not a kid's show.
yeah, that's how they were kind of describe it. The way it
Watts
sounds like kid
and
friendly.
yeah. I mean, it's
Like
Jude Law, so I mean, I don't think he would sign on for something bad. You
I'm
know,
scared. I'm scared. I was trying to think of anything bad that he's done lately. Nothing bad lately, unless you count Fantastic Beasts.
I knew you were gonna say that, but I just
Yeah.
I give him a pass on that.
um, but
Um,
but yeah, that's all coming up eventually.
it's a good direction. I think it's a good direction for them to start moving, and then like I'm excited for Star Wars. That's
Right.
a straight up like we're not big Star Wars people on this podcast, but I'm definitely excited for it. It's gonna be Disney isn't falling or failing on their promises, like make good content. So I'm
Well,
excited to
like
keep what
I think when they realized that the Star Wars stuff was faring better on TV, they kind of stayed in that lane. There were some complaints this about their day on D23 that there was no kind of like announcement of like the direction of where the movies are going because uh I don't think they want to focus on the movies. I mean I know uh Taika Waititi is doing a Star Wars movie and he said that's moving forward. He's working on it, but like and Kathleen Kennedy said like of the Star Wars movies that they have like coming up, that's the first one, but they don't even say when that's going to happen. I mean, their focus is purely on the TV shows right now, and that's because that's what's been doing so well. They've been critically well received, like audiences like them. They kind of, I think they found their groove with them when they kind of lost their groove with like that second Star Wars like movie series with like Force Awakens and The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. They kind of lost their creative way a little bit, and they found it when they started focusing on the TV content.
and
And I
and it's funny because you can see John Favreau just kind of like, do you think that George Lucas is basically just giving kind of the reins to John Favreau to produce and write and at least like be probably like the final like okay maybe because like
well, I
at
don't
some
even know.
point or
Like, well,
another
George Lucas, like, do they
there
even
has
like
to be
consult? Do they
someone to
even
like
consult
connect them all
George Lucas anymore
together.
because he sold it off to Disney? Do they even ask him about what he wants?
They absolutely asked George Lucas what he
Because he sold. I
wants
mean, he
because
sold it all. He sold it all off to them. He was like, here, like it's for a lot of money, and
no, hey, no, we're not saying he didn't send it, but I'm just saying yes, definitely, definitely still consult George Lucas. But I do think it's crazy to be like it's just great that they have like John Favreau, who's just like very good at writing these sitcoms or shows or whatever you want to call them, short form stuff that all can hopefully eventually come together in a infinite crisis type of showing
right.
type deal. But very
So,
excited for it. Very excited for Star Wars.
so after Star Wars, on Marvel had its time, its presentation, and there was a lot of before I even get to what they showed us, what fans thought they were going to get because there were a lot of rumors. They thought they were going to announce the Fantastic Four cast at D23. That didn't happen.
We only got one.
There was a wild rumor about Henry Cavill joining the MCU that they ran away with, and they thought they were going to announce that. That didn't happen either. Those were the big things that they thought were going to happen, and since they didn't happen, a lot of fans were just upset, and then they were like suddenly turning on Kevin Feige, who they were like, oh, like he can't even like he still can't get this Fantastic Four stuff. And they announced the director. It's the guy who directed like the WandaVision, like all like most of the episodes of WandaVision, which I think is that's a good choice. And but no cast announcements. And I kind of figured we weren't going to get them unless that'd be something really hard to keep secret. And it was just too like it's possible that there could be some leaks because they're so many people have been throwing names out there like who they thought they were going to announce. It just didn't come to fruition, and that's on fanboys' fault for assuming that these things were going to happen. Unless there's like an official announcement, I'm not going to believe it. I mean, I think a part of me sat there like waiting because I had to like cover it a little bit. Like I was like, all right, is the Marvel thing done? And when they wrapped, I was like, all right, they wrapped for the day. There was no Fantastic Four, and I don't know where that I don't know where that Henry Cavill thing came from though. The Henry Cavill thing came. I don't
I
know.
think I mentioned it. I mentioned it earlier in an earlier episode that rumors were swirling around when DC's was fumbling the ball. That Henry was going to go, that they kind of snatched him up. But I really think Henry's going to stick with DC. I think he's committed to to fulfill what he wants to do with what in that realm. Also, just super busy with Witcher and everything else he's fucking doing, probably.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, no. How does it fucking feel, Marvel fans, to finally like just like wish you got something and didn't get it?
you didn't get
Especially
it.
at your own expo too. Like fuck off. But
Tell us how you really feel.
yeah, no, there was yeah. How does it feel? But yeah, no, I also saw that there was like this like everyone was like going nuts over this one thing.
Wait, which one? What
Um,
happened?
it's called like Werewolf by
Oh,
Night.
Werewolf by
It's
Night.
like
It's like
this,
a Halloween special. It's a one-off Halloween special.
yeah, it's a one-off, but it's got the TVA in it from Loki.
Yeah.
So it's like it's connected to it. Apparently, at one point, Blade Marshall Ali was supposed to be involved in that, but due to scheduling, he couldn't do it. But it's like, oh, at one point it was supposed to be that. But I don't know if we need this. But I don't. I
I
personally
liked
never
the
really
trailer though.
understood
I
the
thought the
whole.
trailer was really cool. I liked the whole retro black and white like throwback thing they did with that
No,
trailer.
yeah, I just never really understood like the holiday, like why does everyone like go nuts over holiday specials? Like I get like the old school ones because like TV wasn't like TV was like a new TV program was like a thing, but
Yeah.
like we have multiple channels. I don't need to like watch like a new Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special. Like I mean, I'm gonna watch it obviously, but like I don't get it. But I'm interested to see what it's about. You know, never know what it could be, but
Yeah.
you can only watch like in the month of October. November.
Perfect.
Yeah, whatever.
Perfect month.
Um, fine, whatever. And then yeah, there's not much.
Secret Invasion had a trailer too.
That's yes, that was cool. Um, I it's definitely gonna set up something big for Kang or Secret Invasion. Actually, no, yeah, no, it's gonna be Secret Invasions that it's gonna be. No, what the fuck? What's the new Avengers gonna be called?
Secret Wars.
Secret Wars. It's gonna tie into Secret Wars. So that's gonna be cool. It's they can do a lot with it. I hope that they don't go like overboard with the whole um uh like everyone's a scroll type thing. Like
No.
let's hopefully like make it believable that like previous interactions with this character or what has been said in a different movie kind of corroborate like, oh yeah, they're definitely a bad person.
Yeah.
Um but excited definitely because Captain Marvel definitely, she'll be in it. Whatever, my stance on her, but whatever.
Oh, we gotta talk
The
about that
Hulk,
too.
the Hulk obviously is going to be in it, or him leaving in She-Hulk is a precursor to him doing Hulk World where he meets his like half son on Sakaar or whatever. I don't know. So a whole different thing. But definitely excited to see what they're gonna do about it and who they're gonna bring in for. Do they confirm anyone besides like
So it's like
um
Samuel L. Jackson's in it, returning as Nick Fury.
Mendelsohn?
I forgot who Ben Middleton. I don't know who Emilia Clarke's playing, but she's in it from Game of
Yeah.
Thrones. Olivia Colman, Oscar winner, also in it. Um,
Yeah.
it's got a pretty good cast,
Yeah, no, I think it's
and I
gonna
think
be
yeah,
good,
I
man.
think you're right. There's potential to set up a lot of different things that are coming up on that show in particular.
And especially with Nick Fury, because like he's obviously at the center of all things. So we kind of finally get a show where he's like fully in the middle of like we get to see his final like his whole how he works about it. But
Yeah.
I'm excited for it for sure. I think Marvel's gonna once Quantum Manium comes out, I think everything will be fine. But for now, we'll just give me something to fucking watch, please. I need
Well, you got Black Panther in November. That's you got Wakanda Forever first.
I did
So
right. That'll be dope. I hope they come up with. I'm surprised they didn't drop a trailer for that one too, because that would have fucking got a
well,
lot of
they
movement.
had the trailer for it at Comic-Con. I wonder if it was just like too soon to do another one. If they want to wait.
I don't know. With a movie like that with so much CGI, I feel like they could just like do a movie where
Yeah.
that like they make just flip a new trailer for just to improve CGI or different scenes that they weren't working on
Yeah.
before. But totally understand them like limiting it. But I'm fucking pumped for that, dude. That's gonna be sick.
Yeah, that is going to be really good. I guess the biggest thing, since they didn't announce anything about Fantastic Four, they did announce the cast of Thunderbolts. You kind of called some of these people when we talked about this being on their schedule. You called Florence Pugh coming back as from her character from Black Widow. She
Yep.
also
Elena.
appeared on Hawkeye as well. Um,
Yep.
and then there's a good week for her to have some good news because there's always the same week that she was dealing with like drama at the Venice Film Festival for not showing up to a Q&A for her other movie. It just shows how high in demand she is because she has other movies at playing at TIFF right now. Like yeah, she's a hot commodity for young up and coming actresses, and it's cool that they kind of like put her front and center for this. I think you also called Sebastian Stan,
Yep.
the Winter Soldier. He is going to be in this as well. I'm trying to
Red
think who else you
Guardian.
called. But just David Harbour will be back as Red Guardian. Wyatt Russell, who we met on Falcon and the Winter Soldier, is also back.
Yep.
Uh,
Obviously.
Hannah John Kamen is returning as Ghost. We met her in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Never would have expected that one. Definitely excited.
So that one threw, I guess that one threw some people off. But I'm fine with that.
I love her. Yeah, I'm down with that.
And then I don't want to butcher her first name's Olga, and I can't pronounce her last name. Carrie Linko is returning as Taskmaster, who was in Black Widow. And then I don't know. I mean, I know Julia Louis-Dreyfus. They were setting her up to be in this because she was on these shows. It's just weird to like name all these people playing superheroes, and then at the end of the list, it's just Julia Louis-Dreyfus playing Valentina.
The dark side. The dark side. The dark side Nick Fury.
Yeah,
so I'm fucking pumped for this.
This sounds exciting. Like for people that aren't familiar with what this is, the best way I could describe it is like this is like Marvel's like Suicide Squad if they have their own.
The only way it's literally the only way to describe it. I mean, that's why it was made.
Like this is the only yeah, this is like one of the newer projects that they announced at Comic-Con that I was really interested in. And now that we know who's in it, I'm even more interested. I think it'll be potentially a pretty good project, I think.
I really hope that it has to do something with X-Men too. Because
I need X-Men in the MCU like now.
I do too. Well, they confirmed it. You know, Logan's out there through a whole She-Hulk.
Oh, and then Ms. Marvel, they brought up the whole thing about mutants by the end of her show.
No, but you saw the Easter egg in She-Hulk, right?
Yeah. I just
So they confirmed it. That's obviously him.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking because all those characters that you just mentioned have like obviously like been on screen with us before, but like they have a lot of like deep shit past before. So like you never know if like fucking Wyatt Russell, you know, US agent was now a part of Weapon X as like the bodyguard or some shit. And like that could be a bridge to him and then go from there. But like I'm definitely excited for it because it could lead to a lot because it could lead to stuff in Russia. It could lead to well actually mainly Russia. Yeah. Red Guardian, new Black Widow, Winter Soldier, Taskmaster, Ghost. And why? There's a lot of Russia there. I'm just saying, there's a lot of Eastern European stuff. So let's watch out on that. But yeah, no, super excited for it. I think it's gonna be a dope show, a dope movie. Honestly, if this was like a series, I would love that too. Just like a fucking 8-episode boys type series.
Yeah, but they would have to go hard if they're gonna. I mean, would you think they would?
It would be hard, but it would be easier to explain all that.
I guess. Well, they're doing Daredevil again. I mean, I guess they could go hard if they wanted to. They have the whole like they have the whole age restriction thing on Disney Plus now.
Yeah,
so like they can do that.
Lame.
Speaking of Daredevil, he was Charlie Cox was at D23. One of the things he did talk about was that he confirmed. We already I think talked about this that you were. I think you were like, I think they're just going to do this anyway. But he officially confirmed that the Daredevil series on Disney Plus is not like a season 4 of Daredevil. It is like a soft reboot. That was the best way I guess to describe it. But I mean, it's so weird to call it a soft reboot because we're using Charlie Cox and we're using Vincent D'Onofrio.
I don't know.
But that's how he described it. He described it as like them doing it over, basically.
No,
starting
yeah,
from
no,
scratch.
they're just exploring a different facet of what his character could be as Daredevil rather than like the very turmoil, brooding one. He'll be a little bit more lighthearted and funny, and obviously, like if the tables are turning and like the Netflix series is very funny and light bubbly, they'd probably do a more serious one now because you can't do the same thing twice if the first one was so loved. So
Yeah.
obviously, so I'm not upset about it. I'm definitely interested to see how She-Hulk works this next episode when he pops in and like how he pops in and how he looks. Um, but it's still gonna be Daredevil. It's still gonna be fucking sick.
Yeah.
Um, so definitely excited about it. Definitely, I read up a little bit on him about how like it's just a different, yeah, like I said, like I just said, it's a different facet, a little bit more lighthearted about it all. They kind of set the precedent with like Spider-Man No Way Home, but they still can like do a lot of different things because it was so quick and easy. But
Yeah.
just establishing him there as a connection to the whole thing was great. Like he even said that like he should definitely be in the Avengers because like he can be in the center of a lot of things, like because he can work with She-Hulk as lawyers for the superheroes, and you could go a whole bunch of ways. Um, I still think he can also be in like Fantastic Four stuff too. So I don't know the history of that. Actually, I kind of want to look that up right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of
And
potential to branch a
yeah,
lot of these people off in like so many different ways, which is kind of cool. Um,
it's-
but yeah, I mean, yeah. So overall, I think the D23 stuff was, I I think it was fine for what it was. I think with a lot of these things, it's always like bloated expectations. There's a lot of things that we didn't see too. Like Paul Rudd and all of them came out and talked about Ant-Man a bit, and showed some footage from that as well. Um, and just kind of getting excited for what's coming next in the next phase and all that as well too. Um, like again, bloated fan expectations ruin these kind of things, and like just again, you just can't listen to like internet rumors. I thought it would be near impossible. I guess they kind of hid the Thunderbolts cast, but I guess we could have assumed who that was going to be anyway.
yeah,
I
the
can't.
Thunderbolt. I wasn't surprised with the Thunderbolts, but I'm
Yeah,
excited for it still.
like they don't even have like they just got a director for Fantastic Four. I mean, like I don't even know if there's a script yet for like to even show actors. I mean, like
Oh, there's definitely not.
I guess like if you're an actor though, and Marvel is like, hey, sign on without reading anything, some actors might do that, but I can't
Of
imagine
course,
like
they would.
some would, some wouldn't. So I mean, there was a lot that wasn't in place for them to even like announce a cast yet. So I wasn't surprised that they didn't whatsoever. Um, but yeah, I guess we can kind of piggyback on some things we talked about the last time we were on. The last time we were on, we were saying that Dan Lin was in talks to like be uh the Kevin Feige of DC films, and
And they're not.
it seemed like it was going really well, but talks fell through. It wasn't anything bad. There was no like negative things that happened. I mentioned before that the sticking point was that he has a production company, and there was a lot of like issues in negotiating about like how much he could still maintain that while also uh, doing his job with DC, and
Mhm.
they couldn't agree on the terms to that. So they are still currently looking for their guy or girl. I don't know. Could be a girl too. They just still haven't found the person. Um, just crazy because I think you need to find the person now right away. Like it seems like not something you should be waiting on, but yeah, thought he was going to be the dude, but he's not the dude. So just wanted to update you guys on that because it seemed pretty much like a sure thing that he was going to do it. And then I think a few days after we dropped that episode, they were like, nope, talks fell through with him,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
no, I wish you could like know the standards or something of what uh like happened.
Well, I
Like
mean, it's going to
what
come
was
down
like
to.
the
I think it's
final
going to come down
drop
to
of it.
money. It's going to come down to money. Like if he has a production company, and he still wants to maintain that, and like there has to be a lot of. I think that was the only sticking point they said that was they couldn't come to terms on. He wanted to still kind of have that in play
Hmm.
while also doing the new job, and they couldn't agree on that. So
Which is
back
totally understandable.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, he had that first. I mean, before trying to get this job, so it makes sense. So back to the drawing board for them on that. Um, oh, I thought another interesting DC thing that happened. There was a lot of Batgirl stuff that happened the week we were done. Just people commenting on the cancellation of that movie. I'll start with Michael Keaton. They asked him because he just won an Emmy for Dope Sick a couple of days ago,
Mm,
and they
I'm
asked
not
him about
surprised.
the Batgirl movie and about his Batman future. First, about his Batman future, he said that he is not sure. He doesn't know. He doesn't know these things until they tell him. And then they asked him about the Batgirl cancellation and what he thought, and he was like, "You know what? I don't know. I assume it was a business decision, and I'm assuming it was a good one." I'm surprised that he was. I mean, it's Michael Keaton. I'm not really surprised that he reacted that way. Just like, yeah, it was a business decision, and that's it. So that's how he commented on it. And then Brendan Fraser is promoting his movie The Whale, the Venice Film Festival, and they asked him what his next project was, and he jokingly was like, "Well, it was supposed to be Batgirl," and he just kind of laughed about it, and they kind of made a joke out of it. And then one of the Warner Brothers guys actually was talking about the Batgirl thing, and he said like the media blew it out of proportion, and it wasn't a big deal that they canceled it, and that the media kind of made it a bigger thing than what it was. And I thought that was a little insulting again to the people that made the movie. I know you feel differently about the whole like them like scrapping it, but I just didn't agree with the whole uh very flip kind of like, oh well, the media blew it out of proportion. It's not a big deal that this all kind of uh took place kind of thing. That's just me though.
So I think that it definitely blew it out of proportion. I think it was a sound business decision. They wouldn't have done it otherwise. Um, I think the outcry was just more for the directors and all the people who did such hard work on it. Which again, we're not going to take away from them,
Yeah,
but it's more just like, all right, dude, relax. It's unfortunate, but if you really think about it, it was not needed at all. That movie was no one was asking for that movie.
yeah,
So we just kind of have to take it on the chin with that guy.
yeah. I agree. I mean, yeah, like I said, the comic came off kind of rude because I guess I was just thinking about like all the people that made the movie. Um,
Yeah.
because for them it wasn't blown in proportion. Like you just scrapped their $90 million movie that they worked their butts off on, even if it turned out to be like a bad B-level CW esque movie, they still worked on it and put their blood, sweat, and tears into it. So I
Yeah, but you just can't do that if you're trying to right the ship on all the bad stuff that like DC's been putting out.
yeah
It's not
I
just something it just stinks that it's gotta be that way, but that's just the way it is.
Yep. And then also piggybacking off of what we were talking about at one point, the Don't Worry Darling stuff got really weird. I thought like when they went to the Venice Film Festival that it would kind of calm things down because like uh it's world premiering at the Venice Film Festival. It's Olivia Wilde's like second movie after having critical acclaim with Booksmart. Um Originally they said Florence Pugh was going to promote the movie there, and she kind of did. She walked the red carpet. She didn't go to the Q&A that they had before the red carpet. Um, the excuse was that she was filming like Dune Part 2 and she couldn't get there until like later. But while they're doing the Q&A, like Florence Pugh has already arrived in Venice and is sipping on Aperol spritzes in her hotel room, getting ready for like the red carpet. So like she was there. She just didn't want to sit down with them and talk about like whatever. She didn't like. There's clearly like a rift, and like they waited till like the end of the Q&A. Like a media person was like, "All right, basically like your leading lady's not here. Like why is she not here? This is her movie." And Olivia Wilde, of course, talked like around it and was like, "No, she does such a great job, and she's so busy doing Doom Part 2, and we're just so lucky that they let her come here to like walk the red carpet with us and like see the movie for the first time." And she was like whatever, and then they asked her about like the rumors of them not getting along, and she basically said she's not gonna feed the internet chatter because it's, as she said, already been well consumed, which means they're not getting along. um and then someone tried to ask her about Shia LaBeouf, and then the moderator like shut the guy up and said no, you can't ask her about that. So she avoided that. And then things got weird when they, at the world premiere, when they were they were announcing the cast to go sit in their seats, and there was this whole like thing that got started online where it looked like Harry Styles like spit on Chris Pine, and they actually showed this from like multiple angles, and I don't think he spit on him. Something came out of his mouth though, because Chris Pine like, clearly looks at his hand like, "What the fuck?" But I don't think Harry Styles intentionally like spat on Chris Pine. It was just another like weird set of circumstances with like this movie's promotional tour. And to top it all off, I was like, all this will make for good if the movie's good. But then the reviews out of like the Venice Film Festival were all mixed. They all say that Florence Pugh is great. She does a really good job in it. She's fantastic. And some of the direction's good, but they said that the third act is a issue and the script's a problem. So for all this like BS that's going on behind the scenes, the movie isn't good and it won't be like worth all the fucking turmoil that's been going on behind closed doors with it. At this point, I just want it to come out so I can see it, see for myself if it's good or bad, and then put it to bed with the rest of the other like fall releases. At this point, it just depends.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not really like jumping out of my seat to watch it, but we'll see how it goes. I mean, I've heard it's she's fantastic, and yeah, I want to see what happened down in that scene. So, sue me. Sorry, I said it, but I said it.
But
What
she
do you
didn't
want?
want to. She didn't want to talk about that stuff though.
Yeah, well, sorry about it. You should have fucking read the script before you accepted the role. You probably did, but
I think she did read it, and she knew that there would be like sexual stuff in it. I think she just doesn't want. Her thing was like, why are we only talking about my sex scenes with? Because they're not talking about the sex as it relates to the film. They're talking about like, what was it like faking having sex with Harry Styles? That's her issue, and like I can see why that's like a problem. But you know, and she has every. I mean, she's skipping another Q&A that they're doing on the 19th. She's not doing that either. She clearly doesn't want to do any interviews for the movie. She doesn't want to talk about it, uh, which is a shame because everyone says she's so great in it. But like something broke down at some point between all those people, and she was hugging it up with Chris Pine and all her other co-stars. She just wasn't too friendly with Olivia Wilde or Harry Styles. Even on the red carpet, it was like they did that whole group like cast photo, and it just looked really awkward and weird. Like, so they were like, "Can we just not do this anymore and just like go see the movie so we can just go home?" It's like kind of situation. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes when it comes out, and I'll be so happy because like again, like we're talking about like behind the scenes drama with this because there's nothing else going on in the industry right now as far as film because it's a slow month. So
yeah, God.
eventually we'll be able to talk about something else that's not who hates who on in the cast of Don't Worry Darling, just so you know. But yeah, I think that's, I mean, I can't think of anything else off the top of my
Yeah,
head.
no, I can't think of anything else really either right now.
um I will, I will, the Emmys were this week, and my girl Zendaya won for Euphoria, so I was happy about that. I was very happy that Abbott Elementary won some awards too. That's like one of the best comedies on network TV that everyone should be watching. It's like The Office, but like at school, and it's involving teachers, and it's really really funny. I was glad that Quentin Bronson won for writing on that show, and then I was also surprised that Better Call Saul has never won an Emmy at all. It's been nominated 46 times, hasn't won through its entire run, and it only has like one more chance next year for the last half of its final season to win anything. Um,
I think it'll clean up after the fact that everyone's realized that it hasn't won anything because it's just
so
this
it'll get
last
the
season
PD
apparently.
awards.
Yeah, no, but this last season has just been insane. Apparently, I haven't watched it all yet, but I will. It's gonna be nuts.
But yeah, but yeah, that was the only other thing I could think of. I was just rooting for certain people to win Emmys. Apparently, the Emmys were like it was the one of the lowest rated Emmys ever. So people still aren't into watching award shows. Um, but yeah, it's kind of just the period we're in. It's a really slow period, so we apologize for the lack of sufficient news. But we did the best we could, and we were happy
No,
to talk
yeah,
about the
it's just a slow day,
yeah,
slow week,
we were happy to talk
but
about the
it's
D23
needed
stuff.
sometimes for everybody. It's
Yeah,
needed.
and we didn't want to be absent for 2 weeks, so like we wanted to
Exactly. I
show
definitely
up.
didn't want that.
But yeah, I think God, we're still in the slow period in the next week as well. We'll come up with something fun to do. One of us will. Uh,
We'll get a
Actually,
movie
Jack had a good
review.
idea like a couple weeks ago about uh like your top 5 movies to watch in an airplane, which I thought was uh pretty interesting. We can probably do that on next time.
Yeah, we should get a good ranking show in.
Yeah.
So
So that'll
people
be
in the
coming.
comments, hit us up in the comments. What we should rank.
Yeah, we'll do something fun. But until then, you can, of course, listen to us across all your various podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Good Pods, Google Podcasts. I'm sure there are others. We're on a bunch of them that I haven't even checked the stats on, but you can listen to us all there. As always, we thank you for listening and actually sending messages on Twitter about like where we were last week. That was very nice on the Twitter page.
Appreciate it, everybody.
So thank you so much. And Jack, I think it's time for everyone's homework assignment.
I mean, I'm just saying it's we took a week off, but the homework assignment shouldn't have lapped everybody a week. You still got to tell somebody. You got to tell one of your friends that you're listening to the podcast. If they like movies, they like entertainment, if they like two dudes talking about nonsense, they should give us a listen. All right, that's the homework assignment this year or this week. Tell your mother, tell your father, tell your brother, tell your mother, tell your sister. I got nothing to rhyme with tonight because it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning here. But I'm telling y'all, we're I know it's slow, but we're getting into this good stuff. We're gonna have some good stuff coming up on us. I think it's a big year coming up for the Back to the Blockbusters. So I'm just saying, if you stay with us and ride and die with us, I think it's gonna be fun. So tell you somebody to subscribe, like, comment, discomment, like again, and then help us get that algorithm on our side. And with that, I say good night. Have a good day, everybody. We'll talk to you next week.